Andy Reid has come out and said that T.O. was one of the most coachable guys and one of his favorite players that he coached. And we all know that Skip Bayless has had a thing out for T.O., stating in the past and of recent saying that he wouldn't put T.O. in his Hall of Fame, that T.O. does not deserve being in the Hall of Fame. But we all know being in the Hall of Fame has nothing to do with off the field antics or things of that nature. But T.O., as a matter of fact, T.O. never had an off the field encounter or nothing, with no domestic violence or getting arrested or nothing like that. T.O. had more so, he was a receiver. He was more like a diva receiver. And, he wanted the ball, and when he didn't get the ball, these diva receivers blew up on the sidelines. We seen Bryant do it for Dallas. We seen Odell Beckham do it. We seen Antonio Brown do it with Pittsburgh. It's just in their DNA that they want the football, and they want it a lot. And when they don't get the football, they throw temper tantrums. But I think Skip has always went too far in saying that T.O. is not a Hall of Famer. Of course, the man's a Hall of Famer. He's top 5 in receiving yards, top 5 in touchdowns, top 5 in receptions. So the man is a Hall of Famer. Played in the Super Bowl with 2 screws in his ankle. So of course he's a Hall of Famer. Let's see what T.O. and Skip has to say.
Terrell Owens. He will not be at the Hall of Fame ceremony tomorrow, and he posted this picture in Chattanooga, Tennessee for his own party. He's got balloons.
And yes, T.O., he will not be attending the Hall of Fame. He will be the first player, that can attend the Hall of Fame that will not be attending the Hall of Fame. And, he made his displeasure known that, the football media and the guys that vote on the Hall of Fame did not put him in that first ballot. Of course, he should have been in first ballot, along with Jerry Rice, Steve Largent, and some other receivers. I know Randy Moss went first ballot this year, but T.O. should have went first ballot. He was every much the dominant receiver as Randy Moss. They both played in the Super Bowl. Neither one of them won a Super Bowl. They both got pretty good numbers. Actually, T.O. is a little bit better in some numbers as Randy Moss. So of course the man should have been first ballot. He made his decision that he wants to be at his alma mater, Chattanooga College, where he's going to give his speech and have his friends and family around. I have no problem with that, man. I have no problem with how a man wants to celebrate his accomplishments. And, a lot of people in the media, they have a problem with it. But like I said, I think the man should be able to celebrate how he want to celebrate. Yes, he's going out of the norm. He's not doing what normally happens. But let this man celebrate, how he wants to go in the Hall of Fame. This his blood, sweat, and tears.
Some framed pictures and Hall of Fame gear. T.O.'s reputation kept him waiting to get into the Hall, but his former Eagles coach Andy Reid praised him yesterday, saying T.O. was, quote, one of the most coachable guys I've ever been around. Shannon, does this change your view of T.O.?
No, I've always had the same view of T.O. T.O. tried to tell anyone that would listen, yeah, there are some coaches, there were some players, some of my position coaches that didn't like me or didn't like the way I did things. But there were also some players and some coaches, some head coaches, some position coaches.
Yes, like I said, T.O., he rubbed some people the wrong way. But to me, that was not a reason to keep this man from being a first ballot Hall of Famer, that he rubbed some coaches the wrong way. It's plenty of players, I'm pretty sure plenty of players rub coaches the wrong way, or got into it with teammates, or was not liked in in the locker room. But to me, that has nothing to do with his on the field accomplishments. T.O. was always ready to play when the time was ready to play, and I heard stories about T.O. being the most the guy that practiced the hardest on the team. So the guy was ready to play when it was time to play. Yes, he wears these emotions on his sleeves. Some people wear their emotions on their sleeves, and he was one of those guys.
Coaches that love the way I did things, but you guys choose to look at just the negative aspect of it, and so that's the narrative that's being displayed. T.O. has always spoke very, very highly of Andy Reid. He would always refer back, and when someone asked him, I think earlier this year in a tweet, who's the best coach he ever played for, he said Andy Reid. He's always had Andy Reid in very high regards, even though Andy, his last year in Philly, sent him away for the last, 8-9 weeks of the season. But he held Andy Reid in very, very...
Well, at that point, Andy Reid had to send T.O. home. He was toxic to the locker room in that case. Him and Donovan McNabb did not get into it. Donovan McNabb was the franchise player on the Eagles team. T.O. beef with Donovan McNabb was that Donovan McNabb didn't talk up for him when he wanted a contract, but Donovan McNabb talked up for some other people when they came up for their contract. And maybe he has a point there, but it's not up to Donovan McNabb to talk up for any player for them getting a contract or getting a certain amount of money on their contract or not. It's up to T.O. and his representatives to handle his contract situation. It's not up to Donovan McNabb.
In high regard. Andy said something very interesting. He says, I knew T.O. was going to give me everything I got, everything he had. He played 100% all the time. Some guys can give you 100% on the dummies. T.O. gave you 100% on the football field. And yeah, we had our differences. Yes, we had our issues. But the one thing I always knew was that T.O. was going to give me everything that he had. And Skip, and anybody that will tell you that no matter who the player is, everybody got along with them in the locker room. Everybody loved everything about them. That's not true. Be it Shannon Sharp, be it Ray Lewis, be it Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or John Elway. That's not true. Did T.O. have probably more detractors than others? Probably so. But that did not take away from him being an outstanding player. And some players, some coaches love the way.
But to me, Skip Bayless was the driving force of T.O. because he year after year he will get on T.O. about T.O. not being a Hall of Famer, and I think that carried a lot of weight, man. Every chance Skip had, he voiced his opinion, and he has a loud voice. People listening to Undisputed and First Take over the years, and to me, I believe that has something to do with it. And so when T.O. says that people in the media had loud voices and was putting lies out there about how he was a bad teammate, I believe the number one person he was talking about was Skip Bayless.
Loved T.O. the way he played and loved some of the things that he did. Not all, but some.
So, before I launch on Jenny's question about Andy Reid, allow me to say once again, to preface with the fact that, as you will attest, Mr. Sharp, when Terrell...
And before T.O. starts, before Skip starts, and I believe Skip mostly have beef with Terrell Owens because of Terrell Owens when he was on Dallas Cowboys, and to Skip, Skip looks at it that Terrell Owens was a big reason why that team did not succeed, or was able to get further in the were able to have a lot of success with T.O. on the team because he thought T.O. split the locker room, but that was more like Tony Romo not performing. It was a lot of other things, man. The coach, and it was a lot of other things that happened on that team that. T.O. was saying that Tony Romo was looking for Jason Witten too much and was not giving him the ball. And we all know T.O. was the number one weapon on that team. Should have T.O. get the ball, be the number one option before Jason Witten? Of course he should have been. And, what he was saying about him getting the ball more, that could have been true. But Dallas Cowboys is Skip's team that he grew up on. So I believe a lot of this beef comes because he think T.O. sabotaged the locker room at Dallas with the Dallas Cowboys.
Owens was here fairly recently. I congratulated him on finally getting into the Hall of Fame. I told him I was happy for him. I also told him I hope he embraces this opportunity, which he is failing to do at this point. We can talk about that in a moment. But I am not...
I dispute that. I think he's embracing the opportunity. I just think he's embracing it in his own way, and that's... It's in the end, it's his career, man. If he look back 5 years from now and say he should have went to the Hall of Fame, that's going to be on him. He should have went to the Hall of Fame inductee ceremonies for him to get inducted. That's on him. But like I said, every man should be able to carve out his own path.
Not surprised that Andy Reid spoke positively of Terrell yesterday because he's about to be inducted, whether he's going to participate or not. He is going to have a bust in Canton, right?
Correct.
And it's forever. And I'm sure Andy Reid, there's a big part of him that's proud of Terrell. There was a big part of Andy that wanted to embrace Terrell. There was a big part that enjoyed coaching him until it started to unravel. So I'm going to repeat a story I've told you once before on the show. And I'm going to do it to go not just one better than Andy Reid. I'm going to go about 10 times better than Andy Reid. I've told you I got close to the great Bill Walsh. I consider Bill Walsh the greatest coach ever because he picked his own players and he created a revolutionary offense that was all his, the West Coast offense, and he called his own plays. So
Bill Walsh was a great coach, a great GM and coach. He was GM and coach of the 49ers when the 49ers won 4 titles, and then, he retired and handed it over to George Seifert, and Seifert won the title. But, yeah, that was a great system, the West Coast offense that Bill Walsh created and cultivated and made the 49ers a dynasty. Great players, Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott, Joe Montana, Charles Haley, a lot of great players on that team. Roger Craig.
You can debate that all you want, but again, to me, he's my number 1 overall coach.
Okay.
Bill Walsh told me that in all of his years coaching football, and it goes way back to Stanford and Cincinnati, and obviously San Francisco.
Coach under Paul Brown?
He did. He told me that the best ever that he had at a chalkboard, diagramming plays, understanding X's and O's, was Terrell Owens. Now that's a mouthful because we're talking about a whole lot of great players, including Jerry Rice. You can throw them all. Montana Young. He said Terrell was the best ever at knowing every assignment of every player on offense, what they do on every play. He's never seen anything like it. Bill called it like a genius that he had. And that's what Andy's trying to say, that I could tell him how to run a play in practice and he could just do it live. He didn't need reps to practice.
This is Skip Bayless setting up what he really want to say, that Terrell Owens was a team obliterator. That's his thing for his label for Terrell Owens, team obliterator.
He didn't screw it up the first few times in practice. He got it like that. And he said Terrell at one point would come out and break the huddle in practice and wink at him like, watch what's about to happen this time, because I'm going to do it your way and it's going to be a touchdown. So that leads to the ultimate frustration that is Terrell Owens. Because I'll also tell you that once upon a time I was working in San Francisco on KNBR radio, and I speculated on the air that, this is when Terrell was starting to unravel with Jeff Garcia and Steve Mariucci. I said, maybe he needs some kind of psychological help. Bill Walsh called me on the hotline at KNBR during a break, and he said, I just want you to know, we've gotten him help, and it hasn't helped. We've tried everything. We've brought people in from outside to help.
When T.O. came on Undisputed, it was like 3 or 4 months ago, and Skip said that story about Bill Walsh. T.O. said that didn't happen, that he did not go for 49ers did not see him for psychological help. So I don't know who to believe in this situation. I'm inclined to believe T.O. since he was the party involved, and Skip heard it from Bill Walsh. Maybe Bill Walsh said that he probably agreed with Skip that he probably needs psychological evaluation, but I don't think they actually sent him for psychological evaluation.
You know, and I, because you've gotten to know him fairly well. I just know him from being around him a lot.
But Skip gonna go on and on. But Skip has had he has had a long running beef, which I think stems from he think Terrell Owens kept the Cowboys from having success. But to me, Terrell Owens came on that team. That team had immediate success, and everywhere T.O. went, the team had better success when he got there. Yes, he was on a lot of teams. Yes, he turned some teammates off. Yes, he didn't get along with a lot of quarterbacks because he wanted the football, and that's a lot of receivers. I named off some for you, but like I said, Skip to say this man for the last 5 years, say this man should not be in the Hall of Fame, I just think, to me, that's the worst judgment Skip has ever had on any one of his shows. And Skip usually have good perspective, but I disagree with him on that one. T.O. is a Hall of Famer. Congratulations, T.O. Subscribe to the channel. I'm out.